What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including things getting worse in the WWE as various superstars are angry with the mishandling of the COVID situation. A world champion has been fired. Is AEW Dynamite in danger of being cancelled? Bad news for Braun Strowman. Cody responds to WWE using the Great American Bash name and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Let's hit the intro and get straight into the news. Now, our first story looks at things just getting worse in the WWE regarding the COVID crisis. Now, as we reported in a previous video, the WWE's lax handling of safeguarding its wrestlers from the disease driving their current health crisis has led to a number of infected personnel and what is quickly heading towards a complete breakdown in morale among wrestlers and other WWE personnel. According to a report from Fightful Select, upon news of numerous positive tests on Thursday, several members of the roster have contacted Fightful, with one even asking how many positive tests were rumored because we'd know better than them. WWE wrestlers have not been informed of even an approximate number of tests, let alone who tested positive. This is a far cry from the first positive test 3 months ago, in which WWE provided the name, how it was likely contracted, and an update on the individual via an internal memo. Main roster talent we've heard of are generally upset about the handling, with one saying that they'd also prefer if WWE had testing set post-tapings. The WWE is facing serious problems when it comes to who will be able to appear in the shows. Ringside News is reporting that the company is still trying to figure out what to do. People are frustrated backstage because they aren't getting answers. The atmosphere was described as scary. Anyone who tests positive for COVID-19 will need to have their role performed by someone else. This even gets trickier when talked about superstars. There is word going around that a superstar currently involved in a major feud tested positive for COVID-19. It's not our place to reveal this name, but if it is true, then it will dramatically change a major ongoing Red brand story. It's hard to believe that the storyline can happen at all without this particular superstar. Now, with reports that society could see a second wave from the current health pandemic, the WWE needs to step back and examine its entire approach to not only testing, but whether it's wise to continue promoting wrestling for now. Vince McMahon's obsession with running wrestling despite the risk to his talent and employees could end up costing him in areas ranging from wrestlers sitting things out for the duration to a dramatic drop in stock value as shareholders lose any remaining faith they have in him. They're also adding pressure to NXT wrestlers. As the WWE scrambles to salvage its self-made mess of several personnel becoming infected with the virus, it's led to NXT superstars receiving the following text message on 25th June. Per Vince, all talent are needed for television on Friday and Saturday. Please go to PC by 10:30 AM today through COVID testing. If you took test yesterday, you don't need to today. If you are in a high-level storyline, you will be off camera. Thanks. Important. After test, you will need to remain isolated and quarantined until after the television tapings. According to Fightful Select, which reported the text message, talent received the message after 9 AM, which only gave them roughly 90 minutes to get to the testing area. There have also been concerns for Kayla Braxton. Kayla Braxton is one of 4 known WWE employees who have tested positive, the other 3 being Renee Young, Adam Pearce, and Tyreek, who is a performer who recently worked for the WWE as an extra. And in Kayla's case, there are additional concerns as this is the second time she's been infected. There is still a good deal of unknowns when it comes to the disease, and people are justifiably concerned by how many times they can become infected. Next up, a world champion has been fired. Just when you think things couldn't get any more unbelievable in wrestling, Impact Wrestling have made the decision to fire their world champion, that being Tessa Blanchard. A PW insider reported, Impact Wrestling has announced that Blanchard has been released from the company, leaving the world title vacant. This comes after Blanchard has not appeared in person for Impact since the April 7th episode of Impact, including not sending in promos the company requested. Blanchard's contract was expected to expire before Slammiversary on July 18th, where she was scheduled to defend the title in a 5-way match, and currently there's no word on who will replace her in that match. Tessa has yet to make any sort of official statement on her firing. Next up is AEW Dynamite in danger of cancellation. Despite occasional losses to NXT, including a loss this week, Dynamite has been a success for cable network TNT, but recent comments on Wrestling Observer Live from Brian Alvarez suggest AEW's flagship show and the promotion itself could be in trouble. The impression that I've been given is that if AEW is not producing new content, their television contract will be cancelled. Without that contract, they're done, they're finished. If AEW did lose Dynamite, it's likely the promotion would have to fold, assuming no other network or station would pick them up for a somewhat closer price. However, most networks and cable stations have given their contract providers a great deal of leeway given the current health crisis. We kind of feel Alvarez's comment may be an exaggeration of AEW's actual vulnerability. Next up, bad news for Braun Strowman. Is Braun Strowman's Universal Championship reign in jeopardy? Well, Sportskeeter's Tom Colahue seems to think so based on what he's heard. Colahue is reporting, as regards to Strowman, he was the right guy at the right time, but he lucked into this championship. This was never the plan. Unfortunately for Braun, there's a lot of dissecting voices backstage that aren't necessarily in his corner. There is a lot of debate almost constantly to whether Strowman is the right guy, but the top level on SmackDown is it's so bare at the moment. What I think we're going to see is if The Fiend loses, then The Fiend is probably going back to Raw, whereas if The Fiend wins, Roman Reigns is probably returning soon. As regards to Strowman, I'm not sure, and I think it's a bad sign. What do you think of Braun Strowman's run as Universal Champion? Should the WWE put the belt on someone else, or does Strowman deserve more time to get over? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, a special Undertaker tribute on the 26th June SmackDown. WWE.com announced a special feature on the 26th June SmackDown, as with the WWE Universe still buzzing over the final chapter of WWE Network's groundbreaking documentary Undertaker: The Last Ride. SmackDown will feature a special tribute to The Undertaker this Friday night. As part of the special recognition, the astonishing Boneyard match between the Dead Man and AJ Styles will air on television for the first time. With the possibility that the Blue Brand could be missing several superstars due to the positive test for the virus, they may need to pad out the show with features such as this. On the other hand, it may reflect the WWE's creative team's new focus on legends as it takes the latest new direction for the red and blue brands. Next up is Karl Anderson, the mystery man who testified against the WWE. As reported in a past video, secret testimony by an unnamed former WWE superstar states that the WWE's wrestlers and personnel were forcibly detained after 2019's Crown Jewel event and that their delay in returning home was not due to mechanical problems with the aeroplane as WWE claimed. Rumor has it that the person who testified was no curtain jerker, which led to some fans speculating the person who testified was either Karl Anderson or Luke Gallows. During their Talk and Shop podcast, they discussed the topic with Anderson remarking, "Why the f would I want to go secretly talk to somebody about Saudi Arabia when I have my own f***ing hit platform to talk about what the f*** I want to talk about? I can say anything the f*** I want. If I were to talk about Saudi Arabia, you f***ing marks, I'm going to talk about Saudi Arabia. But here's the thing, I will talk about Saudi Arabia, but I didn't talk to some f***ing private investigator about it." The Good Brothers said they will be free to discuss what happened on the 18th July when their no-compete clause with the WWE expires. It'll be interesting to hear what they have to say. Next up, Extreme Rules is now Extreme Rules, the horror show. The WWE has modified the title for its 19th July Extreme Rules pay-per-view, now calling it Extreme Rules, the horror show. The new tagline undoubtedly refers to the Bray Wyatt vs Braun Strowman match, with some fans speculating we could see a House of Horrors match. Next up, Eric Bischoff discusses WWE's lack of top talent. Eric Bischoff is still a popular guest on the wrestling podcasts, as he's always ready to share his take on the past, present, or future of professional wrestling. During a recent appearance on Busted Open Radio, the former WCW bigwig shared his thoughts on why WWE lacks star power such as Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock. I don't think anybody stands out, and that's another challenge. I think there's a lot of really talented people there, either by default or design. I don't know which it is. You know, it could be a little of both. I don't know. I think over the past 5 or 10 years, there has been a decision, intentionally or unintentionally, to make WWE the star and everybody else the co-star. And when WWE is the and everybody else is the co-stars could become interchangeable. And I understand that to a degree, from a business point of view. ATM Eric recalled how the WWE scrambled when Stone Cold Steve Austin walked out on the company in 2002, leaving it without a major star. Do you think the WWE is better off with a group of lesser main eventers rather than 1 or 2 megastars like Austin or The Rock? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, Cody talks WWE using the Great American Bash name. As many fans know, Dusty Rhodes came up with the name The Great American Bash, with the event becoming an annual show in Jim Crockett Promotions, WCW, and later with the WWE. With NXT announcing its 1st and 8th July shows will be titled A Great American Bash, Dusty's daughter Teal tweeted that the WWE should write a check for Dusty's widow. Now Teal's brother Cody Rhodes has joined the conversation, replying to a fan who shared Teal's sentiment. "It's all good, friend, I appreciate the sentiment. Although the event means a lot to my sister and I don't own the IP and I ain't holding much of a grudge on it. My focus has to be on our show and talent, making it fun, making it violent, making it memorable." A great response from Cody Rhodes. But there you have it guys, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.